Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of 2/5/2025.
I would move that the minutes be approved as written.
Second.
Any last minute corrections, deletions? Those in favor? Thank you, Kim. Selectmen's comments, Tom.
Real quick, Allison wasn't able to go, but I went to get the tour of the Tedford shelter the other day, and it was very impressive.
Oh, good.
They have 4 different facilities, including a warming center, so they have a lot more going on there than I thought. I thought there was just one shelter, but. And I want to congratulate Allison on her wonderful talk about the history of Route 1.
Oh, thank you. I didn't throw too many people under the bus.
Gave the library. Jason, I guess you helped a lot with that.
Wow,
Yeah, I threw you under the bus a little bit.
Great. That's it. That's it.
Just an update on this, the bill that I mentioned, there's a public hearing on Monday that would give the counties authority to divide their assessments that come to towns into more than one annual payment. I'll be testifying in support of that. I'll let you know how it goes. And thanks to Kim for giving me some of the figures to help be accurate about it.
Dale.
Yeah, today they were putting up bump signs on the middle road. So I stopped and talked to the guys, see if they were gonna fill something in a little bit, maybe smooth them out. He said no, because the plows will dig them all back out, and they're right. But I had a chance to talk to him about the paving this summer. They are gonna grind, they are going to fill, and they're going to pave. I didn't know they were gonna do the grinding.
We're talking about Route 1 or Middle Road?
Middle road.
Okay.
That's what
I
they.
know Middle Road's a mill and fill.
Yeah.
I mean, Route 1's a mill and fill, but I don't know. All right, well, we'll have to see.
Huh.
Sections of it.
And I was surprised too, because all I heard about the
Were you talking to DOT or a contractor?
DOT?
Yeah.
But some of the workers, I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he said you know the bad bump by the power line?
Yeah.
He said he changed that culvert so he knows it's his fault. So,
Well, do you know why that's that way though?
oh yeah, they didn't put the same dirt back in.
Right, but you can't do that, right? So the roads built out of import material is jacked up right now, and that didn't move.
He says the state wants you to put the old stuff back in.
Right.
But usually the job foreman doesn't want to deal with the wet dirt, so
Right.
they change it.
It's not realistic to put back away and, yeah, oh yeah.
Jason.
I actually don't have, oh, I don't know. You have nothing? Nah.
Neither do I.
Wait,
Oh, I say thank Kim for doing her job and you for being, no, I don't.
Whoa.
No, I
He's
don't.
still tired.
All right.
He's.
Public comments. Now is the time to talk to us about anything that you don't see on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, please wait for it to come up. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so I have a couple of questions as to who I would talk to about an abandoned truck on Hall Road. No plates, been there for 48 hours since the last snowstorm.
Where is it?
It's right, it's just past Otis's house.
But in the road or on?
It's in the road. It impeded
You
the
call it-
plowing efforts.
Yeah, have you called the Sheriff's Department?
I have not. Should I start there?
Yep.
Okay.
I had to call for one personally, and Dale knows, on Hedge Bridge Road. They couldn't get in the driveway, and they left the car halfway crossways the road,
Oh, well.
for a long time, 8 hours, 6, 8 hours.
Yeah, it was there at midnight.
Yeah, and so it's like, you can't get by with a plow truck, you can get by with a vehicle, but anyway, that's a
Yeah,
good place.
and that truck has got a special interest to me because it's they're connected to that boat, that problem.
I see.
So, but the plates are off of it, so I couldn't verify that it was actually that truck,
There's
but,
no plates on it?
nope, no
Call the
plates.
sheriff's office.
Okay,
Call the sheriff's office.
perfect. And then the, other thing that I wanted to ask is that, as the president of the Sassanova Area Neighborhood Watch, we're wondering, who we would speak to with regard to possibly coordinating with the Rousick and developing some mooring laws for the Sassanova area.
Well, first of all, in order for us to have any control over moorings in this town, we'd have to have a harbor master.
We do have to have a harbor master to
You have to have
develop
a harbor
kind of-
master. and in order to have a harbor master, we'd have to raise and appropriate the money to pay the harbor master, and the best way to do that is to start charging for the moorings. There are dozens of moorings in Woolwich already. Problem is, a lot of them have been there for 4 or 5 generations. If we start charging those people for those moorings now, they're not gonna be happy.
Okay.
When the Days Ferry people came to me years ago and wanted a harbor master, because they were all squabbling over the moorings up there, I talked them into, they formed an association and got the Army Corps of Engineers to bless a private mooring field. So they elect their own harbor master for their own harbor, because they're all a bunch of engineers anyway, so they laid out a very well-planned harbor program for up there, where every mooring had to be and everything, and they run it themselves. That's the only controlled access harbor in the town of Woolwich.
Okay, now, I'm not looking to raise a stink with anybody, obviously, I wanna keep the peace as best as we can. Is there anything that we can do to be proactive so that we don't have to be terrorized again? This guy is talking about putting some spray foam in the hull of the boat and hoping it floats in the spring, and.
Oh, is that the latest?
Oh, yeah, that's the latest.
So I know we want to talk about this too long, but and I saw a lot of comments and I've seen this, but even if we had a harbor master, when you're dealing with, and I'm just asking a question or statement, maybe
Yeah, sure.
both, but if you're dealing with individuals that are non-compliant or conforming, what good is it good? I don't understand, like, with some of the comments on Facebook, like, what good is it gonna do? To go out there and say, well, I'll fine you $500, well, okay, everybody and their brother said, move your boat, get it out of the way, do this, the welfare of the people, whatever, all this that's going on for months.
The only thing a harbor master can do, if we had a harbor master, then we could have a rule in town where, like Wiscasset and every other area around here has, where you require that the mooring has to be inspected every 3 years to make sure that it's safe, okay? And 3 years is normally the length of time, you know, the shortest length of time that a chain would rot out or whatever. So you can, if we had, but we'd have to have a whole bunch of, and the harbor master has to be trained, and there is a cost to that.
It's expensive.
But what I meant was, if you went out there and, worst case scenario, your mooring's bad, your chain's bad, get the boat out of here.
Yeah,
What do you-
harbor
how
master
you
can
gonna
tell
make
them
them
to
do it?
leave, but if they don't leave,
Yeah.
there's not much he can do. Now, Wiscasset's going through the same thing. They had a 70-foot World War II British minesweeper over there. And a guy put it on a mooring, and he just left it sitting there. And it finally sank. And the mast actually sticks up out of the water at low tide now. It goes about a foot under the water at high tide. I went out and tied a buoy on it, just so people wouldn't get caught in that. But they took the guy to court. The only thing they could get him for was littering. He paid a $50 fine and 30 hours of community service. And that 70-foot boat is still there on the bottom.
Well, and so here's another example, David. The Jacob Pike in the New Meadows cost the Coast Guard $300,000. They got, and you know what they fined the owner? $750.
But here's the kicker. The only reason they could do the Joseph Pike was that was in the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
See, now, this boat
But they
down
can
here
also
was
see
not in the channel proper, so the Coast Guard couldn't do anything about it, okay? The Sheriff's Department really had no authority over it. I mean, it was catch-22 all the way around.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with the one over in Wiscasset. It's in the mooring field, but it's not in the channel.
It's a multi-level cluster. Did I say that? Cluster?
Not the next part.
Yeah. And I've actually been talking with a couple of people about, there are some states that have really good rules about this, Florida being one of them. And it won't happen overnight, but I told a couple of people that I'd be willing to start working with on some state legislation. It's a multi-agency thing at the state level. The abandoned vessel statute is in agriculture, conservation, and forestry for God knows why reason. There's the Marine Patrol, there's Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and at the federal level, there's the Coast Guard, and there's congressional offices that I also chatted with. So
Everything
it's gonna
drifted out
take a
halfway
while.
and sunk in the channel, the Coast Guard could take it out.
Well, not if they could take out all the fuel and all the hazardous stuff, but if it sank and it was not a hazard to navigation,
Right.
they could leave it there. They
It
could
would
just
have
let
to
it
be
sink.
close enough to the channel so that it was in the channel, but far enough upland so that it didn't go underwater at all tides. If it goes underwater at all tides, it's pretty much,
Right, right, and I think that was why they got involved with the Jacob Pike, because it was,
it was
Would have
big
been-
enough that it was a hazard.
yeah,
But
no,
it's one of those catch-22 situations.
Okay,
I've
I appreciate you
joked
addressing
and
it.
only halfway joked that the best way to handle that boat right now is 3 gallons of kerosene and a marine flare.
No, we can do that.
I didn't say that.
Fiberglass
I didn't
burn
say
it
that.
rapidly.
Yes.
And all you'd have left to pick up is the engine and some scrap metal.
anyway, I
Thank
mean,
you.
nothing's gonna change at the state
Okay.
level right away.
I do
Anything else
appreciate
in
you
the public,
entertaining
Tom?
that for me. Thank you.
I have several questions. First being regarding Resilience Committee, there was a memo today about a meeting next Wednesday. I thought the meeting was supposed to be Monday. Which is it?
I didn't see that email.
Where'd it come
I
from?
didn't either. Where
It
did-
came from
Anything
Dave,
out?
probably. Dave
That was
Hanson.
forwarded from, oh, that's not a resilience committee meeting, I don't think. That's a Mid-Coast, Council of Governments meeting, I think.
Is it?
Did you see that?
I was driving, so I did not.
We have no knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know what that one's about. I had a couple others, one of which is curiosity on the town website. There used to be something about the solar output of the panels and all that. I don't know that that's there anymore, to monitor what the solar panels are putting out.
I don't think it's been on there since we
Hasn't
transferred
been
over
on
to
there
the new.
for many years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's not working. The one
It
that's
doesn't work
downstairs,
anymore.
we have to have it,
You know, that,
yeah.
maybe that's something when we contract with Revision,
Yep.
whatever, yeah, I agree with you, Tom, I would like to see that back.
We're in the process of purchasing the solar panels, and once we purchase them, we'll have a yearly contract with the contractor of the building and we'll get that thing working again.
I'm curious.
Hasn't worked in years.
I'm curious if we're going to gain a benefit. I'm curious if you have some data as far as,
It generates roughly 90% of the electricity we use, roughly.
so it does, because it was initially saying it was going to be 99% of the usage.
I don't think it was ever 99, I thought it was 90 or 95.
Well, I just read off what the
Somewhere's around 90%.
blurb was, it was going to be 99%. So I was just curious what the monthly output is actually, and what the savings are going to be, if there's any way you can verify what the savings are actually going to be. I'd like to see that report.
Yeah, we would too.
And what the maintenance is going to look like once the town actually owns the panel.
Yeah, that's on the old business for discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
We're discussing
discussing that later, under old business. And we've got the numbers here for what it costs a year to maintain it and that sort of thing. So we'll have all that information a little later on in the meeting.
And I only have one other thing. I understand, David, you're the designated person for the, whatever the fiduciary committee is for the county, and
I'm sorry, I didn't,
you're one of the
Budget.
designated persons on the fiduciary or financial committee or something for the
The budget
county.
committee for the county.
for the county, yes, I'm serving on the budget advisory committee. We are an advisory
And
panel
so,
only.
my understanding is I need to put a request in through you for a copy of the preliminary budget for the county.
Stage repeating.
You want a copy of the budget?
Yes, if I could.
Sure.
We'd have to charge for that.
I'll ask them. I mean, I can have this, I've got one
We
right
make
here.
copies
can
of it, I
a
just have to charge
photocopy,
for
but
it.
We'd have to charge you for it, and so much copy.
Well, that's fine. I'll just return a copy of my invoice to you for my time spent as an advisor.
Aren't your meetings held in public?
What's that?
Your meetings are held in public. Your advisory committee meetings are held publicly.
Yes.
So have you thought of
can come to any one.
come to one of their meetings?
Well, the last one was, what was the term? It was,
Last Thursday.
it was,
I'll be glad to give you a copy of the meeting schedule. I'll run you off a copy of that free.
I'd be interested in that, but I'd be interested in a copy of the budget. The last meeting was supposedly by, online or something. It was, remote. I guess it was a remote meeting, but they didn't give any indication where it was or anything about the meeting. Turns out it was snowing that day, so I'm not sure.
Let's go back to Selectmen's comments here for a second. I'll give you a quick overview. We're gonna see an 8.84% increase in our assessment from the county this year, which relates to $178,817 more than we paid them last year. Last year, we paid them $1,017,933, which was a $184,000 increase over the year before, okay? So first time ever, we went over $1 million. We went from 870,000 up to 1,017,000. Our assessment this year is going to be $1,196,750. And on top of that, on another note, the RSU budget increased $42,000 a month last year. We're now paying the RSU one $419,000 a month. 12 months out of the year. So, those two facts are the driving factor behind when, for the first time in 30 years, we've got to have a tax anticipation note.
David, wasn't the budget meeting that I was gonna go to was during the snowstorm? That was in person, wasn't it?
That was in person and Zoom. You can sign up to the county if you got the capabilities of Zoom.
There was no information how to sign up or where it was gonna be or anything about it, just said it was gonna be remote.
Well, you were there in person, weren't you, David?
I was there in person. I went in person.
I thought that was on Thursday.
I drove.
It was Thursday of the
I figured
snowstorm.
I figured it's Maine, it snows.
It was a week ago tomorrow night.
Yeah, because I was gonna
Right, because I
go.
know you said they didn't cancel it, even though it was snowing.
There wasn't any indication of where the meeting was gonna be or anything, it just said remote.
We don't receive any notification, that'd be all through the county.
Yeah, it's just.
You'd have to reach out to them.
The next meeting is February 20.
Tomorrow, 20th?
20th, 4 p.m. here. What is that? February 20th. Yeah, February 20th, Thursday at 4 o'clock, tomorrow. And then after that, the next meeting after that is February 28th, and that's an all-day meeting. That's from 8:30 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. So, and it's in the Commissioner's office, which is on the first floor. You go into the building, you walk all the way down like you were gonna go out the front door. It's right there on the right.
Right.
So there is a meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And it's gonna be on wages, cost of living, and staffing requests. I can tell you some of the department, estimated increases in some of the departments. They run from as little as 2% up to 138%.
I got that yesterday. So, thank you.
And, you know, I would think it's a public document, so I would think if you called Amber Jones over the county, she'd give you a copy.
No,
No?
Do you take pictures with your phone?
that was requested yesterday.
Do you take pictures with your phone?
I can.
Well, before you leave, take a picture of that.
I would think that's a FOIA request and they have to provide
Well,
that
I
to
would
you.
think-
They won't do it.
What? Huh?
Well, they said that, yes, the county attorney said that the preliminary budget is not a public document by law.
But they presented it yesterday, or at least they presented a summary of it yesterday. So that's been requested. This is publicly presented.
At the commissioners meeting?
Anything else on public comments? Okay, Kim.
So the tax bills were mailed out last week. Huge thank you to Marla and Clayton. and Allison. I don't remember the other lady that came
Oh,
in.
Sandy Duncan.
Yeah, and our folder, our little machine that folds the tax bills went kaput, so they were folding tax bills and stuffing, and we got them out in 2 days. I was very impressed, so, and the tax payments are starting to trickle in, so that's a good thing. So the heat pump downstairs and also in the small meeting over there has been out for quite a while. The tech came today, and some of the codes that it was throwing, he was not, he's never dealt with that, so he has a call into tech support, which he does not think that's gonna go well, and it looks like we're just gonna have to buy a new pump altogether. Which, when we got the quote the last time, it was like $5,000 or $8,000. It was up there, so.
So, well, remind everybody, so there was, what, 3 originally, or is that what I'm mistaken? We've already done one of them.
We've done one, and that was the inner office and then the back office.
And this one, this is from the original construction back, so, yeah.
Yeah, so.
How much money do we spend on it before we replace it?
Right, exactly. So I have not heard back from him what the situation is, but he said he's never seen anything like it. Go figure, go figure. So.
What part of the building is actually affected by this one not working?
My office and that, I know, I put gloves on and a hat and I work away.
We appreciate that.
Well, I'm just wondering, this.
Like,
We can light a fire in your office.
I know.
Well, the baseboard heat still works, right?
It does, but it doesn't throw out a lot of heat, but it's okay.
So
I've been
what,
dealing with it.
so the outcome is we're waiting for what? Some more?
Until he hears back from tech support if it's something that can be fixed.
Okay, so
If they've
nothing's
never
gonna happen
seen this
until we
before,
get.
so until we know, we're just waiting. But I have a feeling it's just gonna be a new pump that we're gonna have to buy.
Who's the company you use?
Mid-Coast Energy. So they've been out a couple of
Got one of
times.
the best heat pump guys living right down the road from you.
Yeah, we tried.
We researched that on the
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yep.
So,
Can I just ask a question? Do we apply for Efficiency Maine, get credits for replacement of heat pumps?
we do not.
The towns qualify,
I have not.
especially town municipal buildings, heat pumps, especially for towns with populations under 10,000 residents. So we may be able to offset some of that cost through Efficiency Maine.
Well, those usually, I believe those are sort of automatically applied by the vendors that install them. So like we had them at our house, and that's pretty much, it's automatic that they would apply for the Efficiency Maine credit.
Well, good question.
Yeah, I can look into it, Michelle.
We're looking into.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all set for the town meeting. I reserved the gym for the 30th of April, so that's, go. 30th of April. I don't know when you want to discuss the tax anticipation note. I have all the documentation. The board has one place to sign on here, I think 1 or 2. And then I just need to sign it and send it off. It should be funded by the 26th of February. And it is a loan for $396,489. And it will be a drawdown loan, so we will just use what we need to.
Yep.
And if we don't need to use it, we won't pay interest on it, and hopefully people will just come in here and full force and pay their taxes, and we won't even need to touch it.
We made a motion, we made a motion last time.
Yes.
So do we need to do another one?
I think we should.
Okay.
Reluctantly, I'll ask for a motion
Yep.
to sign these documents for this loan.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Okay,
Those in favor?
Yeah.
Pass it around.
all right.
Take care of that right now. Just the page you need to sign.
Right, sorry, I just want to make sure that you're mine.
Do you have anything else, Jim?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to find the pages that you have to sign, and I think it's just this one. Yes. Okay, so sign that one. Where's my paper now? So Tommy and I are gonna get together on Friday and work a little bit more on the personnel policy. Once it's completed, I guess we should send a copy of it to Kristen so she can give a final review. I don't think we'll be done with it by Friday, but hopefully we'll get a lot of it done.
Okay.
And then the last thing is, so I reached out to Trio because we are gonna have to go to Trio Web eventually. I wasn't pleased at all because she gave me two prices. One is if their server is on site at Trio, that is $8,000. If we just put it on our server here, that's $4,655. But our server is not compatible with what they need to put on, so I had to reach out to Burgess, and for them to upgrade the server just so we could put Trio Web on it is almost another $3,000. So with the contract that we have for Trio, the going to Web and Burgess, we're looking at over $30,000 just to have our software, which I kind of wish that we could have gone with Town Cloud and paid $16,000. So here we are.
Okay, let me get this straight in my head. If Burgess can upgrade our server for $3,000.
They have to, in order to put the web-based Trio
Okay.
that we can use. So if we go to Web
But
and
then
they put it on the Trio server that's not here, but it's in Bangor, whatever, that's almost $8,000
A year.
a year.
Okay.
On top of what we pay for already.
$4,000 a year if we spend $3,000 to fix ours.
So there's $7,000. So
It's
we're
good.
basically apples to,
Okay,
yeah, it's
but,
the same. Yeah.
but then our server would already be good for next year and the year after and the year after.
Correct.
We wouldn't pay $8,000 every year, we'd only pay $4,000 every year, right?
You'd pay the
Unless
20
they
some
go
odd
up every
thousand
year,
plus
which they always do.
plus the Trio Web.
This 4655, this is an annual thing on top of
Are
it.
there other
Yes.
other disadvantages or advantages to having it local as opposed to,
I'm not that
remote?
familiar with Web, so I don't know. I'd have to look into it a little bit
It
more.
makes-
I just received the pricing on it.
Seems to me rather than pay an extra $4,000 every year, we'd be better off to pay $3,000 one time
Right.
Have our server updated.
and have our server upgraded.
Well, I'm just wondering what the
Interesting.
ongoing expense of operating it ourselves, or having to pay Burgess or Trio to run our server for us, as opposed to just letting them deal with it completely within their environment.
I mean, right now, we're on the sequel and it's on our server here.
Right.
So I would think that it's just maintaining it on our server that we would have to keep up
What?
cost with, but
You know, what costs would there be for them, for it to be processed on a server in Woolwich rather than a server in Bangor?
Well, there.
I'm asking,
Well, we have to keep our server in condition to do it and
Right.
fix it if it gets bugged, it has to have a patch to it or whatever. So Trio guys would have to do that for us, I presume. I mean, it'd be worth having a conversation with them about getting into a little more subtleties of the pros and cons of either path.
And when does this have to
Yeah.
be done by? Is this for next year?
well, the thing, we're gonna have to go to another platform sooner or later because they no longer support SQL. So we don't get any updates pretty soon. We're not gonna be able to use the system at all. So
So pretty soon, meaning this year.
pretty soon,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would think that we would need to budget it at least.
Okay, so
coming
yeah,
into
this
next
isn't
year.
something we have to spend now, it's for the next fiscal year? Is that?
Right, yeah, we don't have to spend it now,
Okay.
What's
but
the horizon to doing the upgrades? So like, once the decision is made, do you know did they indicate how long it would take to migrate?
no. I have not had that conversation with Allison yet. I mean, it would depend on, what their availability is. There's training, they have to do a test environment, encrypting the data, all that kind of stuff. So
Sounds like a
it'll probably be a couple months.
Multi-month.
Yeah.
I guess what we need to know is which is the better way for us to go. And in order to do that, we've got to get more facts. We need to know from Burgess, is this something that's gonna cost us, they can upgrade it this time for $3,000. Is this gonna be an ongoing $3,000 upgrade every year?
I think
or-
so. I mean, unless Trio does updates to it and our server can't handle, is it compatible to it? But I wouldn't think that.
If
should be
that's
that
the
way.
case, it sounds like it's a better deal for us to upgrade that. Spend 3,000 one time, I mean, I realize that the dollars difference is gonna be minuscule the first year, but we would save money going forward after that.
If that's the case.
Yeah, I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like to hear the whole story, and just so we
So we
All right.
compare apples to
have
apples
all
here.
the facts, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's all I have.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Good.
Do we have
Good sign,
do we
Jim.
have a road
What?
commissioner's report tonight?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. We do have a CEO report. 2 building permits, residential roof solar principal dwelling, 5 plumbing permits, 4 internal, 1 septic system. Public notice for industrial park. Dog Duck LLC and Patriot Holdings Las Vegas have filed a stormwater permit through DEP. The plan is to construct more storage units. It is proposed to be located next to the current storage facility. The public hearing was held on Tuesday, February 18th at the site. Danny, you're up.
Just quick, we have a call going on. We've responded to 19 calls, 20 was the one going on right now in February so far, with 18 patients, 15 transported. MC1 was called 3 times. Rescue 2 will need only summer tires this year, and Rescue 1 is gonna need at least a couple. I've begun to look for competitive quotes for those, but they're gonna run about $200 each. So we're gonna need at least 14, maybe 16 tires. So, and then Rescue 1 is its snow tires are original. They're gonna have to be replaced sometime before next winter. So I'll look for quotes for that when budget allows it. Just giving a heads up, we're gonna have to replace those. During the storm this past weekend, some of our crew members stayed here at the station throughout the night, and I slept in there, so I know the heat wasn't working. I was wondering why I was cold. But I had a good sleeping bag. So that we could respond to incidents more safely, people were staying here because it's rather than trying to drive in that snow. And I want to thank them. Dedication, standby pay, spending their whole time here. It's we have a really good crew. So thankfully we only had 1 call during the storm, which made it easier. I will be in New Mexico for training, response to bombing, explosions, incidents training next week, but the crew is all set up and they know the officers have it under control. Things I forgot to put on your list. Days Ferry Church reached out and asked us, they got an AED, they asked us to do CPR training for them so that they can, respond. So we're gonna do that in March sometime, some Sunday after their church service. The AED hunt that I was doing with grants not going well. Nobody wants to give money to a town, like a town for that. Most of the grants are for schools or like community groups. So there's one possibility still. I'm still trying to get word back from them, but the others have fallen through because they give them to community groups and things like that, but municipal governments, they're not. So I'm working on that, but we have 1 new probationary employee who's gonna start right along as 3rd. And then we got another application was just submitted from an advanced EMT, so who has a lot of experience, so lives in Bath. So it should be, hopefully we'll get some more people on board soon. So these nights are getting tight. And we've had a lot of people out sick lately, which makes it kind of tough to keep filling. So just a couple more bodies would help alleviate that. So, and that's my report.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sean?
6 calls so far this month. The air compressor that we got through the Stevens Everett King Foundation grant is installed. Wiring was completed today. The tech will be back Friday to finish the technical setup of it. And then he's going to come back and do a training with the department on how to run it and operate it and all that, probably next week or so. So that's really good. That's a great step for us. Puts us back in the game. I had a question about the hydrant down by the Taste of Maine. The section of pavement that they put in that there's a loop there. State hasn't plowed it once this winter. Who's in charge of plowing that? We've cleaned it up just so we can get to the hydrant, but who do I need to speak to about that?
Bath Water District.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to check, but,
Yeah, because they located it.
yeah.
Without discussing it with you.
Right.
Eventually,
They
we're
should
gonna,
be, in my opinion, they should be plowing it.
eventually we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Start there.
Well, you can fight that if you want to, because we didn't ask to put that in.
We've already been
No,
over
We've
there.
already been there and done that.
And the only reason it's paved is because Jimmy told them to pave it,
Yeah.
to get to
Really?
it while they were using it, because they weren't gonna do anything with it. They were just gonna leave it on lawn or dirt, and Jimmy said, no, pave it.
Can a fire truck even fit on that little loop?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've already driven on there to test it. but-
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not paid, they haven't been plowing it. So Donnie's plowed it for us, thankfully, but I'd like to see that taken care of, so we don't have to
That
do
was
that.
put in for their convenience.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But.
They
Yeah, it's not gonna be very
By
convenient when we
law,
need to
they
use
put
it across
in.
Route 1.
Once they get a PUC increase, once they go back on the PUC for an increase, we have to start paying for it.
For all that.
Well, we don't have
Just
to
like-
pay for
just
it, let
like-
them dig it out.
Just like, well, he said he'd
Charge
bag
us for that,
it.
too.
He said if we didn't wanna pay for it, he'd bag it.
Bag it. I mean, at what point do, we start,
I know.
there's a hydrant, 150 feet up
Yeah.
the street?
If we
And
had
either
a-
way, we gotta stop Route 1 traffic to lay a hose across.
Why'd
So-
they put it in?
They put it in, they needed it, my understanding
flushing?
was they needed it to make a connection there,
Okay.
okay? And they needed that hydrant to put, it was, I thought at first it was for something the construction company needed, they didn't need it. It was something that he tried to explain it to me, but it went over my head. But it was for them to make a connection somehow, they put in that hydrant.
If you recall, there was a section of Maine that had to be relocated as
Yeah.
part of the bridge project, and somehow that all got tied together.
Okay.
So it does tie to flushing, testing,
Yeah,
all
okay.
that stuff goes in and.
It tied two different types of pipe together, that's what it did.
But they should back it.
So,
Okay.
I mean, if they'd asked, we'd have probably told them no. But,
Right, it's not very
they didn't
useful.
ask, so why are we gonna pay for it?
It's not very useful on
Especially
that side of the
At
road.
12 and 1,500 bucks, whatever it is now, we're paying a hydrant, 1,700 bucks?
11 something.
11 something, it's,
The good news is we're not paying for any of them on the middle road until they get the next increase.
Nor that,
which will probably be next year.
Next
Well-
year?
well, we'll know when they do it, but nor that one, so you can use it for a year, right?
Right.
I don't wanna use it, trust me.
Yeah.
But, no, I would say check with them, see if they're gonna plow it. Yeah. But if they're not gonna plow it, it'd be no different than if they put a bag over the thing anyway.
Forget it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they can throw a bag over it, if I need it that bad, I'm gonna crack it anyway, cause they're not gonna lock it, so, and deal with it after, but, if that building across the street gets going, there isn't, all 3 hydrants on that section aren't gonna feed it, so you're gonna have to double time, but.
Yeah. So,
Anything else?
just waiting on engine 3. What you guys wanna do with engine 3?
Okay. Under old business, let's have a discussion of paying for the
repair.
the repairs.
Yeah.
Authorizing the repair and, a quick discussion of how we're gonna pay for it.
Well, I think we all agree that obviously we should fix it, the fire chief agrees we should fix it, we should do it, we could authorize it with the catastrophic repair money and apply it, Sean, I don't hear this, but apply it to your account, and if it goes, when it goes over, at the end of we just have to, right? Isn't that what we decided what to do?
Figure out how to make it
We
come
got a
out
couple of
right.
things you were gonna sell there, some body parts or
So a
something.
motion to authorize the repairs to engine
3.
three.
Authorize up to
Yeah, so the only thing concerning Sean is that.
20,000?
Well, yeah, that estimate doesn't include, the estimate that didn't include, so.
Yeah.
What do? We just authorize the 16,000,
I would say do 16,989 and 27 cents, and
Let's do 18,000.
Up to $18,000, I would make that.
I mean, this isn't the
Second.
final estimate?
No, I pointed out to you
Not
guys,
final.
there's a note that says that they haven't, does not include the estimate for the exhaust or exterior
Some
valve, whatever.
valve, the intake valve, they're not sure if the
Why
intake
not?
valve needs.
Because they're waiting on,
They haven't
Won't
got
know
it,
until they-
they have to start
Okay,
rebuilding
okay,
it.
Okay.
It's not being rebuilt yet.
Depends what they use for piping, the Jaffrey valve won't fit, may not fit, it may not be big
Okay.
So
enough.
just a little quick history on this pump. This truck is 27 years old, and every part of that pump is welded, not bolted like a newer style truck would be. So they had to literally cut it apart to get it out of the truck. So now they have to re-weld to put it back in. Versus a new truck, engine 2, I could go out and they could pull a couple bolts and we'd have half of it out. So
Okay.
it's just
Huh.
the age. But the age is also good. Then the truck's in excellent shape. It's
Yeah.
solid.
They'll
It's,
weld it all back up.
I will
I know.
point out
They're in the garage up there.
that truck, that 27-year-old truck, has been the most reliable truck we've ever had. This is the first major repair on that truck in 27 years. It's had fewer repairs than the brand-new truck has had in the length of time that we've had that.
all right, so yeah, up to 18,000, that's the motion, yep.
I'll second it.
Okay, those in favor? Okay. Turn
thank
them
you.
loose.
Thank you.
Okay, solar array budget buyout discussion. Tom, I think this is gonna answer all your questions. Okay, we reached out to Revision Energy and asked them about taking care of it in the future. And I'll read exactly what the gentleman wrote back. Maintenance expenses can be difficult to predict. Your project has been in really good shape since commissioning, which typically bodes well for its future. In many of our financial models, we anticipated needing to replace the inverters once during the system's useful life of 15 to 20 years.
At the 15 to 20 year mark.
At the 15 to 20 year mark, correct. Given current pricing, I would expect that to cost around $2,500 per inverter your system has free. For other maintenance needs, I would say it'd be smart to have $1,000 set aside each year for the maintenance, with the understanding that you may have years when it's entirely unnecessary. So that's what Revision Energy says.
As far as the solar panels are concerned, are this gonna be still on the grid, or are we doing batteries?
No, it's
They're
on.
not hooked to batteries.
Yeah.
So we'll still be
It goes
looking
into
to
the
CMP?
grid, and we get credit for that,
Okay.
which would offset about approximately 90% of the electricity that the town uses at town buildings.
So this building
Not
here
much
would benefit
This
the
buil-
most
yeah,
from it, the
yeah.
cost?
It's not gonna offset the street lights.
Correct. Will it help with the cost of run, the fire department as well?
It'll offset all
yeah,
the electricity used in this building.
Okay.
This building only has 1 meter service,
Right.
so when you're saying fire department, it's all
So it'll
one.
offset
Okay, I
this
wasn't sure if
building.
they had a separate budget for electricity and I had a separate meter, so.
We have a separate meter across the street. It'll offset the electricity use at the church. And there is no electricity use at the old townhouse because there's no electricity in the old townhouse.
And the North Station.
North Station
And it does offset the North Station as well,
and the Fishway.
and the Fishway. But the Fishway is only used a month out of the year, so not a lot of electricity used down there either.
Yeah, it's too bad that the towns don't get any incentives from the recent solar money that just came to the state of Maine.
Okay, so,
So David, or Allison or somebody, when I look at these revision service packages, right?
Yeah.
Year one's the same on either option, it's quite high, is that, does it?
I don't know anything about.
I mean, it looks like it's, so it's $1,620 for year one price, if I read this right, every time I'm wrong.
right,
And it looks like it's, one either is a weekly performance monitoring and every 6 years major system, the other one looks like it's every 3 years, right?
right.
And
What's
then-
every 3?
Yeah, it looks like the only difference
Major
is the
system
intervals
inspection.
of the major inspection.
Right, the difference is the premium package, they'll do a major inspection the first year, which is the $1,620. And then on the fourth year, they'll do a major inspection, which is budgeted at $1,701.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the average, 6-year average for the annual price is $820, as opposed to a 6-year annual average price of $605 if we go with a standard package. for the extra $200 a year, I think myself, I'd go for the premium package. That's my opinion, for $200 a year. I think it's $200 well spent. I certainly know nothing about that thing, and I wouldn't know what to look for if I went up there.
Right. Yeah,
Does this come with a warranty?
I don't know how to answer that. I guess the short answer would be no. There is no warranty.
We're going into year 8.
Oh,
It was put in
Yeah.
almost 8 years ago.
okay.
2017.
We're, they have a shelf life of 15 to 25 years, something like that.
All right, so with the buyout, they don't offer an extended warranty?
Yeah. Well, so wait a minute, I'm confused, because when we did this, wasn't it lifespan up to 40 years?
No,
Yeah, this
actually, they're
That's
saying,
15 to 20
yeah,
years.
it's 40 years, because they're saying the
That's the
halfway
inverter
point
life.
would be
That's the
15 to
halfway,
20 years
yeah.
into it.
Right.
So, so it's 30 to
Yeah.
40 years where these things are supposed to last.
We
So-
did a purchase power agreement because Revision had all the federal, rebates and whatnot that was not available to the municipalities. So we entered into an agreement where they owned them and they got to take advantage of those rebates or credits and pass that cost along to us.
Right,
And
yeah.
we've been putting $7,000 a
Well, what
year.
Revision did was they
away.
sold it to Greenvolt, which is a private investor, because they wanted to get the money back out of it so that they could invest it in another town and that sort of thing. That's how they do it. So
Yeah,
anyways,
I'm working on a solar project for my work that's gonna be a multi-million-dollar project, so I feel like.
Yeah, we're talking about $50,000.
So, yeah, so it's smaller scale, but, I would think that a good question to ask is if there's an opportunity to purchase an extended warranty for the rest of the life of I mean, when you buy anything that expensive, you would think that there would be something, because what happens if one of those solar panels bites the dust? What do we do about replacement?
they replace it. They can change it one at a time.
At no cost?
What the cost of that is, I don't know.
Okay.
That would be a good question to ask.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to be difficult, I had a couple questions too. So they already sold it to Greenvolt, we've been paying Greenvolt, right?
Yeah.
So Greenvolt, basically, when we buy this, or we're ready to buy it, we buy it from them.
Yeah.
So when I go buy it, I see like small little trees and not a lot of maintenance done, and so I don't know, I'm not being difficult here, but it's sort of like, well, Greenvolt, what are you gonna do like, why aren't you having it inspected and have it ready to go for us? I don't know, I mean, am I being?
I think so, we
No,
know
but
we're
what I
buying
mean is,
something good.
we're buying the new car that's got 7 years on it, so are we still good?
What we'd have to do is we'd have to look at the original agreement.
Yeah,
See what we agreed to.
Right, right.
I don't think we held them to any, they were supposed to do nominal maintenance.
Maintenance, right.
Yeah.
But when I see little pine trees.
But I don't think, I would think.
I don't think that was
property-
part of our
I would think
agreement.
where the property belongs to us, it's up to
Okay.
us to
Yeah.
cut the trees. When we have the place mowed this summer, maybe we should ask the guy that mows it what he judges. to
Well,
whack down those trees.
yeah, it's pretty minor, I just was thinking that, like, it's obviously working.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't want a bunch of 30-foot pine trees to grow in front of the place, it would kind of negate the whole, but
Yeah.
it would seem like it wouldn't be a big deal to go up there with brush saw and knock down a few saplings.
So in 40 years, when this thing goes away,
None of
dies,
us will be here.
what's it cost the town to get rid of it?
Hang around and find out.
I mean, but if we're gonna get the town into this, I think it's something we should know.
I have
Presumably they
no
would be
idea.
replaced.
They are having problems, I can tell you, they are having problems recycling the things. I don't know.
I had not heard that. I heard the opposite.
What, they rarely sold? I thought I read something recently where there is a problem getting rid of the panels. Because of the-
Particular
because of the metals
materials
in them.
or, I thought, my understanding was that they were broken down into largely recyclable components, but I'm not an expert on that.
Neither am I.
Okay.
I just was reading something recently in the paper about, the ones that came off the White House that were on the college here in the state,
Yeah,
and then they discontinued them. And I don't know,
Yeah.
there was something in there about them having to get rid of them, and that's not.
The state's been having conversations about decommissioning and making sure, I think with some of the new big projects, and maybe Michelle knows something about it, is that there's gotta be in the plan a sort of decommissioning.
Yeah, it's expensive
Yeah.
to recycle, I mean, they can be recycled, but it's very expensive. And that falls on the towns, I mean, you know, some of you won't be here for
Our
years,
array
who knows,
is
but-
not that,
Yeah.
have you ever
None of
been
us
up to
will
the
be
array? It's
paying
not that big. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have a huge array.
It's
Okay.
84 panels, I think. is what it is,
Yeah, I'd be curious, I have to look through some of my materials to see what that decommissioning looks like.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm mostly dealing with the solar for all resident,
yep.
locally residential
Yep.
for the cooperative mobile home parks in the state of Maine
Yeah.
that I work with, but it's questions that I have because I don't wanna get all these low-income residents reliant on solar panels, or our town reliant on solar panels, and then all of a sudden, you know, something goes wrong and we don't have any coverage, and now we have to scramble for
Yeah.
an alternative electrical supply.
Yeah, I'll see.
I don't really see the town ever getting, for town use, I don't see us ever really getting anything bigger than what we have now, because we don't have that many buildings.
Right,
I mean, the
right.
school doesn't belong to us anymore,
Right.
so we don't supply any electricity to the school.
It was already sort of matching, it was matching what we're using. And
Yeah,
That, I think the size
I
was
would
picked on
think
based on
whereas,
that.
you know, over the next 40 years, replacing panels one at a time, I doubt if they're gonna replace all 84, you know, and
I can see what I can find out. I sit next to a guy who serves on the energy committee and see what.
okay. So, I guess the question before us is, do we want to proceed with this? Do we want to, what's the dollar figure to, Greenville? Is it on here somewhere? Am I missing?
The dollar figure of what we need to do to buy it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it 46 something?
Well, we've been reserving we've been taking out 7,000 a year for the
Yeah, so
last
that was 48.
8 years, right?
49.
79, 749. So, but the
Yes,
price is,
49.
price is lower now.
Yes, it is 48 something.
40 or
So
46?
we have the money to buy it.
Yes, we have over 50.
I would think it would be in our best interest to buy it, because then we would stop paying for the electricity that we're now paying for.
Right,
Yeah.
So
Right.
we have the money, it was set aside, the voters voted for us to buy them at the end of 7 years.
Yep.
So I would say, let's buy them.
Yeah.
And not enter into one of these right now, right? There's no funding for this.
There's no
Unless,
Well,
funding.
there kinda is, I mean, we have the extra money.
no, but if it's 40, wait a minute, so it's
49.
49, and I thought it was 46 something. Is it 48 something?
I have to look, I don't have an
If it's
exact.
46 something, obviously we have that money to use towards this.
Right.
But the
If
first
we-
year,
if
it's
we had $1,620 left over, I'd say we'd be
Yes.
wise to buy one of these
Yeah.
packages.
Right.
If we
That's right,
don't,
the first year is
If
the
we don't-
same.
First
no
year's
matter
the
what.
kicker, yeah.
I think it says here, we have up to a year to buy the package.
Okay. No, I agree.
Okay.
So if we don't have 1620 left over to the 49,000 that we got,
Yep.
I'd say let's wait till July 1st, let's put a bill, let's
Put it on the
warrant article to raise $1,620 for.
But I agree, that was what was presented to the people, that's what they voted on, that's what they
That's what
agreed
they
to do, you
voted for to
know.
do, and I think we should do what the town has told us to
But
do.
all I tried to do was make sure that we were buying it in good working order, which I guess it is.
All right.
So I
We
have
might
a
have to cut down
question,
some
so
trees.
if in here it says, we anticipate needing to replace the inverters once the system's useful life at the 20 to 15 or 15 to 20. Given current pricing, I would expect that to cost around $2,500 per inverter, and we have 3, so there's $7,500.
Right.
So when are you going to raise, and then it says for other maintenance needs, you would be smart to have $1,000 ready for each year for maintenance.
Well, I think we gotta put a
So you
warrant
have
article on we gotta put a warrant article on the
Warrant.
warrant to say that, while we ask for $1,500 a year for maintenance, and that would start us raising, if we don't use it, then when the 15 to 20 year mark hits, and they've got, $7,500 kicking around, they can buy the 3 inverters.
We just carry that.
I think we
carry
call it
that
like the
forward.
generator maintenance reserve was what it's called, so this is the
Right.
solar panel.
Solar panel maintenance reserve.
Yep.
So let's make sure we put a warrant article on for that.
Yep.
Unless, let's complete whatever paperwork we need to complete to buy the things.
Okay. There's a second motion?
So did we got a motion?
Well, we do, but should we wait, do we
Want to
have,
make a,
till we have the final figure and the final thing, do we?
Okay,
No,
we can do
what
that.
is-
Yeah.
We have to check on
Get an
somebody.
exact
Yeah.
dollar figure,
Okay.
if you would.
So, but we're on the right track.
Okay.
We're on the proper.
Does anybody have anything else on the old business? Hearing none, we'll move on. Anybody have anything on the new business?
sorry, yes, there is a CMP, pole attachment that needs to be signed.
Is that this thing?
Yes.
All right, it's on the Naquasset Road at 4393 3067, 6977 8097. If any of you know
Dale knows
your
right where that is.
GPS.
Yeah.
That's the, oh, yeah.
Dale knows
Oh,
that.
that's not the poll number?
No, I think it's
That's
the
not the
coordinates.
poll number, that's the GPS.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, it just says it's on the, oh, it's 80 feet southwest of George Wright.
Oh,
So it's gotta be right down there in the
yeah,
corner.
yeah.
They've already put two new ones down there that we didn't, I didn't think we even authorized those.
Well, we
We
did
did.
one or two,
Yeah,
but
we did.
they've been doing pole replacements. See, new ones they do, but pole replacements we don't do. They have the right to replace the pole,
So
but.
this is
All
a
right,
new
a
one?
motion to allow them to put a new pole down on, the Washington Road, 80 feet. That doesn't make any sense.
Southwest, that's it, of the intersection.
Where are they gonna put it? On this road?
Well, yes, across it here, right? So then down on the George Wright,
80 feet from George Wright Road, that's right here.
Right by the church.
Right.
Right by the church.
It's gonna be right by the church, 80 feet up from the George Wright Road, on the Naquasset Road, it's gonna be right out here.
Well, wouldn't you wanna not?
That's more than 80 feet.
Right in the middle of
let's
the
look at,
road.
let's look at the
Well, it's
drawing.
like, isn't that also where we're gonna straighten the
Makes
road?
no sense.
Maybe that's why they're moving it.
Huh. I don't think CMP and DOT talk to each other. To you?
So obviously the Watson Road's right here, right?
Right,
And then, trying to see which one's the new ones. No, it doesn't cost us, it's just we don't want to put it in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Because we are having a road relocation if we ever will.
Well, yeah, we don't want them to put it where we're gonna move the road to.
Yeah.
CMP pole 41.
This is the next pole, there's nothing between here and the George Wright Road.
Really?
40.
See, what's happened is if you guys have walked
Okay,
it,
here's your new location, CMP 44, right here.
Not
So,
helpful.
it is,
Those of us
it
who
is,
send
Not
it to
helpful to
table.
those of us over here.
it is probably up the hill, right?
it is partly up the hill. But it looks like it's
In
coming
front
on,
of the
right
cemetery?
alongside the existing road,
Right.
which means our new road would pass.
Be out of the way. I talked to CMP one day, Dave, and they'll never remember it, but I made a point, say, you do know there's a new road going here, right? So don't put a pole right in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's on our land.
Yeah.
The new road is technically on Woolwich
So
property.
it's sort of like near the cemetery, in front
Yeah,
of the
so,
cemetery.
so if you look, we've been upgrading the poles, I think that,
Yeah.
Georgetown and Rouseck, obviously this line's feed all that.
Yeah.
It seems like they've been going higher voltage.
So that might be further away from the road in the future.
It definitely, the,
Yeah.
It's gonna go right alongside the existing road, so when we move the road
Over that way.
down,
Yeah.
it's gonna just be on the other side of the road, so
Yeah.
I would say a motion would be in order to sign this.
So moved.
second.
Those in favor?
But you're right, though, we don't know that all agencies talk to each other.
Okay.
That was one of the points I made about the DOT bridge
anything
people,
else?
the DOT road people.
Anybody have anything further? I would entertain a motion. to
When's the
adjourn.
next budget meeting is on Monday?
Yes.
At 2.
So moved.
Two.
Second, we're ready.